Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Saber Broadcast Network. This is College Football Wraparound. And so tonight, what we hope we can get through is a show without internet glitches. And really, I think what happened was the other night here at the studio, we had some weather come through, and so with that, it affected our coverage, and so we had to cut it short. And so we pushed it here to tonight, here on a Wednesday night, so that maybe, hopefully, we don't have any more issues with the weather for the time being and throughout the college football season because um, we've got a lot planned. And one of the things we are going to share with you, hopefully tonight. So if you will stay tuned for that, because trust me, this is going to be a lot of fun for what I'm going to share tonight. So we will, of course, show you that here a little later tonight. But other than that, well, it does have to regard our game broadcast because that we do have the first matchup that we're going to be doing, and that is week 0. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So tonight, though, what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about the ACC rejecting Stanford and Cal. But we started talking about Monday night before the weather cut us out. Then we're going to talk about, can Drake May make a Heisman run? We'll talk about, can South Carolina challenge Georgia for the SEC East? Will Alabama have the best defense in college football? Will Grayson McCall lead Coastal Carolina to the New Year's Six Bowl? Is KJ Jefferson the best quarterback in the SEC? Will Emeka Ibuka have a rebound season because he was supposed to be really good last year but had an injury? And then J.J. McCarthy. Will Michigan be back to the playoff for a third straight year with J.J. McCarthy this time being the starting quarterback? So, of course, we have a lot of questions we will get to. And then, smack dab in the middle of our show, we got our question and answers time. We're bringing it back so you, the viewers, can ask anything college football related to me. And hopefully I have a good answer for you. And if not, we can have civil discourse on it because, who doesn't want good commentary and good debate on college athletic debates? So let's get into this with the ACC rejecting Stanford and Cal. So it was a 11-4 vote. So yes, all 15 members, even though Notre Dame is not a football participating member, they are still a member of the ACC, just not a full member, even though literally every single other sport that they compete in is in the ACC. So 11-4 was the vote for Stanford and Cal. They needed a 12-3. That would have had to been the most no's with this, but they had 4. Who are the 4 teams that rejected Stanford and Cal? Well, Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, NC State. So you can see right there, these 4 teams, because if you look at the revenue, they already are not pleased with what they get from the ACC. And I mean, they've been watching with the SEC, the Big Ten, now the Big 12, what they've been able to do. And these teams in the ACC are saying, wait a minute, we want to be paid just like them. So, and there's another development with the ACC we'll get into in just a second. But what does this say about Stanford and Cal? Well, they're not going to find a home in the ACC. I already know this because they already rejected Stanford and Cal. That ACC is out of the question. The Big Ten, I don't feel like, is going to expand any further. So I think the Big Ten's out of it. And then the Big 12 is pretty much out of it. And the SEC, let me tell you, the SEC and the ACC are the lone two conferences left within the Power Four because the Pac-12 is pretty much done. So this is their last year of existence. The SEC and the ACC are the last two conferences that are a part of the Power Four that say, hey, wait, regionality actually matters in college athletics. So it's not like how you've got the NFL or the NBA or the MLB, where these are just athletes who can just go all over the place and play whenever. That's not what this is. This is college athletics. And so I will say, you've got to applaud the ACC for saying, no, we're not going to expand all the way out to California. That's not even because we're the Atlantic Coast Conference. We're not a conference that's going to go all the way out to the West Coast. That's just not going to happen. So you've got to applaud the ACC here for standing up for regionality, because that's what they just did. Will it hurt the conference? Honestly, this is better because when you look at the money, because let's be honest, the money's all important about this. This is just about money. When we get down to it, they would be worse off if they added Stanford and Cal with the payouts to go to the schools, because they wouldn't be able to pay these schools as much. Stanford and Cal takes a piece of what the other teams in the ACC already get. That's just common knowledge here. So that's also part of it. Because if they could have worked it out the money, to be honest, they probably would have added Stanford and Cal. But you know what? They didn't. Because they knew that the money wasn't going to be there. So this is really a great thing, not seeing Cal and Stanford go to the ACC. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not good for the schools, because now what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up in like either the American or the Mountain West, where they're not going to get paid as much. And so if you're these two teams, plus Oregon State and Washington State, you're just kind of sitting there like, you know, that everybody in the pack, all your friends you thought you had out west, they've abandoned you. And now you've got to go play in a more inferior conference to what you already were in. And this doesn't just hurt college football, folks. College basketball, college baseball, softball, volleyball, any kind of sport. This is going to hurt Stanford and Cal and Oregon State and Washington State, because they're going to have to go play in a more inferior conference. Because the Pac-12 is actually, this year, probably one of the, maybe competing with the SEC for the deepest conference in college football. I mean, because let's be honest, if you look at the Big Ten, there's probably like 3 teams, and that's Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. I mean, Pac-12, there was a lot of teams that were just so deep and just so good. So we'll see what happens, but now let's turn to our questions in our top 30 players in 30 days series. So, of course, we just got done with what I believe was day 21, I believe. So that just shows right there how close college football is, folks. This is going to be fun, let me tell you. So, can Drake Maye make a Heisman run? Yes, he most definitely can make a Heisman run. Will he win it? No, he's not going to win it. But can he? Yes. North Carolina, like, the first game we're going to see him play is a neutral site game in Charlotte against South Carolina. And honestly, I think this is going to be one of the biggest games North Carolina's going to play all season against South Carolina. And I want to see how Drake May does. I feel like if you're a North Carolina fan, and if you see him just lighting up the South Carolina defense, I would be sitting there saying, okay, we're going to be pretty good this season. He's got a chance at the Heisman, and North Carolina could easily sneak their way into being one of the best teams in college football. Now, do I think they will be in the ACC championship game at the end of the season? From a preseason prediction, no, I do not. I foresee Florida State and Clemson being in that ACC championship. I don't see North Carolina. North Carolina, though, will be a close third place in the ACC. So I don't see Drake May winning the Heisman, but he will be up there. He'll be in New York at the end of the season. So, okay, our next question. Will South Carolina challenge Georgia for the SEC East? I'm going to say no from preseason. And here's why. Because for maybe the last 2 or 3 years, the SEC East, let me tell you, has started to get really good. And I think that it's going to depend if Georgia is going to play as good, because there's so many questions. Is Carson Beck actually going to be as good for Georgia as what we think he could be? I mean, there's a lot of questions with Georgia. For me personally, though, because really the question is, because it's almost like the narrative of how everybody thought Alabama was just going to steamroll everybody. That's Georgia now. And I mean, Georgia, the thing is, are they going to steamroll everybody that they play, or are they going to be playing a lot of close games and barely getting by? That's a good question for a lot of us to see. But then, also, South Carolina's got to deal with Tennessee. Now, here is the big question for Tennessee this season, and that is, can Joe Milton actually play to the caliber of what Hendon Hooker played last season? Because if he cannot produce as much as what Hendon Hooker did, then it proves that Hendon Hooker was the best quarterback to come through Tennessee in a long time. Now, I'm not saying Joe Milton is a terrible quarterback, but go back and watch when he was starter at Michigan. It was bad, folks. I mean, it was really bad. The guy, he's got a cannon for an arm, but the downside is he is so inaccurate. So I'm interested to see, because if he can rein that in, Tennessee will challenge Georgia for the SEC East. So we'll see what happens. Our next question, will Alabama have the best defense in college football? That's a good one. I don't know if it's the best defense, but I will say Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be big in this, because what's hurt Alabama, in my opinion, over the last few years is when they play teams with quarterbacks like Hendon Hooker, Joe Burrow, anyone like that. They figure out ways to just light up the defensive backs of Alabama. Alabama has allowed too many explosive plays over the last few years. That's why they haven't won a championship since 2020. So, how does Alabama get back to being one of the best in the business? You fix that defensive back, and they've got one of the best defenses in college football. And Kool-Aid McKinstry can definitely lead that group. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Alabama could potentially be the best defense. I'm not going to say they are. I'm just going to say potentially. All right. So now we have come to the point in our show where I want to hear from you, the viewers. What kind of questions do you have for me tonight? So anything college football related that you want me to answer, just shoot away in the comments section because I want to get your questions because it's fun. It's fun to get some questions and debate it with you. And of course, you can come back to me through the comment section with your responses to stuff. So just shoot away with your questions. I'll take your questions till about 8:22, and then we'll get back rolling with our topics for the night, and we'll end the show about 8:30 tonight. So that is the plan. So just shoot away until about 8:22, and hopefully I'll answer anything that is college football related that you want to know. So, and also, while typing, I'm going to get this ready so that I can have that announcement ready at the end of the show tonight so that it'll be ready to go. All right. Let's see. Right. So, so what we've got here in a second, once I get it ready, is it will be it's going to be a slide I'm going to pull up for you. And so I think I'll go ahead and announce it right here while I wait on some questions. So getting it all downloaded. And this is what I was telling you at the beginning of the show. And this, I'm telling you, is actually really cool to think about. Because as you know, we've done the game broadcast for a while now. But this year, we're taking it to another level because what we plan to do here on the channel is every single week of the college football season, not only are we going to be doing college football wraparound, but we hope to do a game broadcast each and every week if we can make it work. And that's a big if. So, right there is your announcement. That is right, folks. The first game of the college football season right here on Saber Broadcast Network will come on week 0, which will be Saturday, August 26th, so 10 days from today. So, here's the plan. Because college football wraparound is expanding. We are going from 60-minute episodes of college football wraparound on Saturday mornings during the college football season. So now we're expanding to a 90 minutes. Occasionally, we have a segment that is going to be a lot of fun. We'll get into more detail later about that, but that is coming. So an unnamed segment is coming. It will be like a 45 minutes. So it takes half the show. So let me tell you, I'm excited for this season with college football wraparound. It's going to be awesome. And then, of course, so how week 0 will work on August 26th is about 12 noon. We will go live for college football wraparound. We'll go for about 85 minutes. And then after that, we'll just play we'll just probably have a collection of clips from the shows here over the summer. And what's going to happen is that'll give 5 minutes, and it will go into our game broadcast of Notre Dame and Navy at 1:30 p.m. So that is our big announcement. And of course, as you can see, Sam Hartman against I think it's Carlo against Ramos. Now I hate that I'm having to go back and find the name. And Colin Ramos. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't get that wrong. Also, one thing that we promote, I want to start promoting on this channel that is really nice to have is the Phil Steele college football preview book. It's literally the best thing to have for any college football fan. So that is awesome to have. So really is a helpful tool for this right here with broadcasting. So, of course, really nice thing to have. So, we're just going to go ahead and get into the next topic. That is, will Grayson McCall lead Coastal Carolina to a New Year's Six Bowl? I think he can. Coastal Carolina, the only thing that I'm going to see that really will hurt him is Jamey Chadwell headed from Coastal Carolina to Liberty. And you may be saying going to Liberty is sort of like a step down because Liberty just joined the Conference USA and Coastal Carolina's in the Sun Belt. In a way, it feels like a little bit of a step down. But in all respect, I think that I really do think that Grayson McCall could lead Coastal Carolina to a New Year's Six Bowl. I think they're good enough. Grayson McCall is a guy that I would like to have as my backup quarterback in the NFL. So I definitely think he could lead Coastal Carolina to a New Year's Six Bowl. All right, is KJ Jefferson the best quarterback in the SEC? No, he is not. Because the best quarterback in the SEC is Jayden Daniels from LSU. In all respect to KJ Jefferson, because if I'm going to be completely honest, if you're looking at who is the most important quarterback to the team, to any team in the SEC, I'm going to say KJ Jefferson. Because without him, they will not win. Because you could get teams like Alabama and Georgia, where quarterback's not going to be the main key to success. But Arkansas, they need KJ Jefferson. If he's not out there, they're not going to win. Now, why do I say Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC? He's returning. He played extremely well last season for LSU. And in fact, if I can... Okay, so according to this, last year was just the second time since 1958 that LSU had a new head coach and a new starting quarterback. And then LSU, of course, added Jayden Daniels. And Daniels threw for 209 and rushed for 114 yards in the opener. And that was against Florida State last season. Jayden Daniels, he is definitely the real deal here. And I would say he definitely is the key to LSU's offense going. But I mean, they got Malik Neighbors at receiver, Mason Taylor at tight end. I mean, they're a good team. LSU is definitely a good team. Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC. All right. Will Emeka Egbuka have a rebound season? here's the big thing here, folks, because not only is the quarterback situation, we don't really know what's going on, but he's also got Marvin Harrison Jr. that is going to get the ball because he started to emerge last season, and man, he is a good receiver. Now, does that mean Emeka Egbuka can't? No. He will definitely have a rebound season. What does that rebound season look like? I don't know. Because it's going to depend on what kind of quarterback you get out there. Can that quarterback get you the football? And then your teammate, Marvin Harrison Jr., what is he going to do? So that really is an interesting question because there's so many different things that go into that. And really, if he's on a different team, he is definitely wide receiver one. Like, I definitely, if he goes to like Alabama or, for instance, he goes to Tennessee, he's wide receiver one. But at Ohio State, he is number two behind Marvin Harrison Jr. So that is a given. And really, it'll be interesting to see just the disparity between him and Marvin Harrison Jr. with receptions. And so and then yards off receptions and all that. So we'll see. And then the one from today, will J.J. McCarthy lead Michigan to the playoff? This, out of the last 3 years where Michigan made it twice in the last 2 years, this year's really the big question. And here's why. Because for the first time in a while, it's a Ohio State team where it feels like we got even more questions. Because last year we had questions after they lost to Michigan and didn't make the Big Ten championship. So Ohio State, he's got even more questions. Michigan has got questions. And then Penn State. What if Drew Aller is really as good as what a lot of people are wanting to make him out to be? Then let me tell you, Penn State could be a threat to Michigan. But can J.J. McCarthy lead Michigan to the playoff? He could. But you're going to have to get through Ohio State and Penn State. And Penn State, I feel like would probably be an easier team to push by. That's just my opinion. But Ohio State, they still got to get past Ohio State. And it really is funny how these last few years, like before Michigan actually beat Ohio State, it was always Ohio State's the king of the game, and Michigan's just never going to get over the hump. And Michigan's won twice in a row, and now we're sitting here, Michigan's still got to get past Ohio State. And it's like, it's incredible. So yeah, I think there's a possibility J.J. McCarthy leads Michigan back to the playoff, but I'm not going to say they will. So that is pretty much it. Let me go ahead for those of you just joining and get my announcement again. So right there, as you can see, August 26th, 1:30 p.m., Notre Dame versus Navy right here on Saber Broadcast Network. But tune in at 12 o'clock, though, 12 noon, because we've got college football wraparound. And then we've got Notre Dame and Navy. So that is really the big opening game, and it's going to be so much fun, folks. And there's so much that I am excited to do this season with college football coverage right here on the channel. So So just buckle up, and we will ride this ship all the way to the end of the college football season because this is just going to be a lot of fun because the fun is just getting started. So with that, I'm Cooper Naylor, and this is College Football Wrap Around. Good night, everybody.